Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be discussing the honors program in California Community College. I personally was a part of the honors program at my college for 2 years, and I chose to bring this up today because I've been getting a lot of questions about people who are concerned about like the workload and whether or not they should join and what they want to get my insight on it. So that's what this video is going to be all about, so stay tuned if you're interested in that. To start off, the honors program is an advanced placement program in the California Community College system, and you can be either invited into this program or you can join the program if you meet the requirements, which I'll get into in a minute. And typically, the honors program has higher success rates for students who are going to transfer, who are going to graduate, and they get special offers such as scholarships and things like that. One of the questions that I get most frequently is, what is the difference between an honors class and a regular class? So the main difference between these classes is going to come down to a few factors. Number one is going to be class size. Typically in an honors class, you're going to see smaller class sizes because it's coming from a smaller group of students who are eligible to be in those classes. The second thing is you're going to be doing a lot more collaborative work. So you're going to be working in collaboration with your peers a lot more on projects, papers, essays, things of that nature. So be prepared for that, just so you know going into it, you will have to interact with other people. You're going to have an opportunity to speak with your professor more often and more intimately. So in a regular class size, one, because it's bigger, especially if it's like a discussion or something like that, you may not necessarily know your professor that well. A regular class at my community college was generally about 30, maybe 35 students. In an honors class, you're looking at more like 15 to 20 students per class. So you're gonna get to know your peers better and you're gonna get to know your professor better. The assignments in an honors class are going to be a little bit more demanding. They're going to be a little bit closer to the classwork that you would find in a four-year university level at a UC or a state school. So you're going to have very reading and writing intensive programs. So in these classes, you're typically going to be expected to read more pages per night, or you're going to be writing more papers or papers that are longer. Usual class, you would just take a final and be on your merry way. In an honors class, most of the time you are going to have a final project. Sometimes you will have a final project in addition to the actual final exam. These final projects could be collaborative, they could be individual, they could be a combination of the both. It just depends on the individual class and on the individual professor. Joining the honors program is going to be highly beneficial for students who are really committed to school. So these classes are tailored towards very academically minded students who are motivated to transfer, to graduate, to earn that degree. So in these classes, you're going to find students who are like-minded. The academic rigor in an honors class is more similar to that at a UC, four-year university, or state school level. It's going to prepare you more as you transition from community college into four-year. There are better transfer rates for students who participate in the honors program. Usually there are specialized programs to help those students transfer. So as I've discussed in other videos, there is TAG, Transfer Admission Guarantee. There is TAP, Transfer Alliance Program, that is specific to UCLA, especially the College of Letters and Sciences, but highly beneficial. You usually see success stories in those cases. And then at my community college, I'm sure it's probably offered at other California community colleges, I've seen programs where other private schools are partnering with California Community College. Last year, they introduced a new program with Columbia University in the city of New York, and it was pretty much kind of like their version of a TAG. You had to go through some special requirements, you had to take certain classes, but at the end of the day, your transfer rate to Columbia was higher than the average student. You're also going to have the opportunity to participate in research projects more likely. There are also research conferences, and there is an honors symposium held every year for the California Community College system. So that is a statewide competition. Actually, I'm not sure if it's a competition or if it's just kind of a thing where you present your research and your work, but either way, it's really great, looks great on resumes, looks great on your applications. Eligibility for this program is opened both to high school students who are entering community college and continuing community college students. So generally the eligibility varies from college to college. High school students are going to need to come in with a cumulative GPA of about 3.25. And for community college students, it's going to be a little bit higher if you're continuing. So you need to have taken typically like English 1A and passed with an A or a B. And then you need to have a cumulative GPA of, I've seen anywhere from 3.3 to 3.5. Once again, it just depends on the school. Check your school's website for the specific details on that. In order to maintain your member status in the honors program, you need to maintain a cumulative GPA of 3.25, and you need to be enrolled in at least one honors program per semester or quarter. And in order to gain honors certification and have that denoted not only on your transcript but on your diploma, you need to have a GPA of 3.25 in 5 honors classes by the time you graduate. The question that I get asked most frequently across all videos on this channel is the honors program hard? And this is such a loaded question for me. I feel like that depends on how academically prepared and inclined you are. So it depends on your academic background and things of that nature. For me, as you guys may know from my other videos, I came from a private high school, so I had that private education background throughout my whole life, not just in high school, but particularly in high school I was coming from a college prep. So I didn't really feel like this honors program and the honors classes that I was taking were too overly challenging. I think that they were the right level for me. Personally, I felt that the regular classes were a little bit too easy for me, so I really enjoyed the honors program. In terms of like how hard it is, I wouldn't really describe the honors program as hard. I would describe it as more demanding. I usually took about 2 honors classes per semester, so I found that I was able to keep up with things pretty well and it wasn't too overbearing for me. My advice, if you're interested in the honors program and you're eligible, is to just give it a try, because you're under no obligation to continue through it. If you take one class and you find that you don't like it, or it's too challenging, or it's not really like something that you're interested in terms of like the writing, because I know a lot of people aren't great at writing and they hate writing or they hate reading, you know, you're under no obligation to stay in it. So you can always try it out for 1 semester or quarter, see how it goes, and then, you know, drop back if you don't want it. If you're curious about the honors program but you're worried about the workload, my suggestion to you would be to start with something that is an elective. So something that's low units, probably like 3 units is a good amount. You don't want to do something that's 4 or 5 with a lab that's more involved, because you're going to be doing a lot of work. So for example, there's a class called Honors Dance in America, and that was a really interesting class. It was actually a hybrid. So it was mainly online, but there were 3 dates where we had to meet in person. You get acclimated to the class, you get to know the professor, and there are a few papers. It's nothing too difficult, I would say. It was actually one of the easier classes that I took at West Valley in general. So start with something like that so you can ease yourself into the program and get accustomed to the demand that they expect from you. Just to prove to you guys that honors classes probably aren't as daunting and terrifying and hard as you may think that they are, there are a lot of honors classes that are actually held at the same time as regular classes, and the honors students just have an additional assignment or 2. So usually an additional paper or an additional presentation or something like that. So the honors classes that I took in community college are Honors Introduction to Cultural Anthropology, which is Anthro 3H at my college. I took Honors Art of the 20th Century. That class was super demanding, just as a note. I took Honors Modern Fiction, which is English 49H. Honors Dance in America, which is Kinesiology 51H. And Honors American Government, which is Political Science 1. And the last one is Honors Experimental Psychophysiology, which is Psych 2H, also a super demanding class. And I want to give you guys an example of what the syllabus is like and what the assignments were throughout the semester for those classes. So for the first one, I chose Honors 49H, which is an English class, Honors Modern Fiction, really interesting class. So the course requirements and what your grade was actually composed of, I'm going to list them off right now. There were 2 QQRs, which is question, quotation, and research. Basically, you had to like do like a little write-up where you did a little bit of research and then present it to the class. There were 2 of those. There was 1 close reading paper in that class, so it wasn't too long. I think it was about 3 or 4 pages. There was the midterm exam, a research essay. This one was closer to like 10 or 12 pages, and then the final exam, which was in person. So that was the whole class. Obviously, you still had to show up to class, and there were additional like books and textbooks that you had to read, but those were the assignments that you were actually earning a grade for. And that was for Honors English 49H. And to go to Honors Psych 2H, so this class did have a lab, super demanding, but let me just tell you guys what you had. So for this class, it was 3 in-person exams. He dropped the lowest score. You had 10 online quizzes. You had lab assignments. There were about, I would say, probably 5 or 6 lab assignments, which were just kind of like little write-ups or responses to what you did in the class before. There was one lecture final, so there was the lecture component, so the stuff that we were actually like taking notes on, he gave an in-person final for that. And then there was the lab final. So that class, the whole lab was pretty much dedicated to learning how to use Excel. So the lab final was basically just on Excel formulas and stuff like that. And then the final thing was the honors project. And this was to design and carry out your own research experiment, interpret the results and all of that stuff. It was really difficult. I don't know how I passed, but I did, and I was actually only one of 3 people in the class who got an A. Pretty much everyone else got a C, so it's not impossible, it's doable, you just have to be willing to dedicate yourself to the work. To me, the biggest benefit from joining this program, aside from intellectual stimulation, was the fact that there are better transfer rates for honors students. So, you know, the programs that they offer, TAG and TAP, those really are going to help you boost your application. You're getting priority consideration over some of the other candidates and applicants who are looking to come into that school and into the same major that you are. So it was really beneficial in that way. I do think it helped me out a lot. And I'm just really glad that I made that decision to be in the honors program, because I think it helped me get to where I am today. Thank you so much for watching this video, you guys. Please let me know what questions you have down below. I will get back to them as soon as possible, and I'm open to answering anything, whether you think it's kind of a ridiculous question or not. Just drop it down below. Like if you enjoyed the video, if you found it beneficial, and then as always, please subscribe. I post new community college and transfer content, application content on a weekly basis. So I will see you guys next Saturday at 3 p.m. Bye.